Welcome all. In this video I will demonstrate how we can move a class to separate source files. And to do so, we firstly copy the class like this. And then you copy all the content in a notepad file like this. Then you go back to Visual Studio and then you click here on your project name. So in my case, Demo 11. Then right click and then you click on Add and choose Class. Here you type the name of your class. So in this example, it's rectangle. And then you click on OK. So now when you clicked on OK, you see two new files being created, namely rectangle.h and rectangle.cpp. So we start with the file rectangle.h and you remove here all the content except the first line. So leave hashtag pragma once at the top and then you paste all your code of the class in this file. So next what you do is go to public, so all the functions here, and remove all the implementation of the functions. So what I mean with that is that you select the curly brackets and all the statements between these curly brackets and remove these and replace them by a semicolon like this. Yeah, so also for this function here, so this constructor, remove the implementation, so the statements between the curly brackets, and replace it with a semicolon. So do that for all the functions in your class. Like this. So what we have here is a nice overview of the class. So in the public, we see all the functions. So we can easily see now that it has two constructors and one constructor with no inputs, another constructor with two inputs. Furthermore, we see it has two setters for the width and the height. It has two getters for also the width and the height. And it has a single member function for the area. Yeah, so the header file, so this is what we call the header file, is used to give a nice overview of all the functions in your class. So now we go to the rectangle.cpp file and we use this file to implement all the functions. So what we do now is we copy all the functions under public. And paste these functions here in this file. And what we have to do now is make a link between these functions here and the class. And to make this link, or to make this relation, we have to type before each function name rectangle colon, like this. Yeah, so each function name, before each function name, you type rectangle colon. So also here for set width, that's the function name. And before the function name, you type rectangle colon. This way you make a link between the function here and the class. So do that for each function. So again, we started with the header file. So the header file gives us a nice overview of all the functions in the class. And the implementation of all the functions in the class is done in the source file, so in the rectangle.cpp file. So now we go back to our main file. And now you see we get an error here because it does not recognize rectangle. So to use the rectangle class now, we have to include it. So you type here include. then double quotes, and then rectangle dot h. Yeah, so now you include this header file here. So now it recognizes the rectangle class and all the functions that belongs to this class. So if we run this code now again, you see it prints negative value is used for the width or height. So that's because we have -5 here. So let's remove that. And now you see it prints 30, 200, and 0. Because what happens here is we create a rectangle on line 13 with width 5 and height 6. We create another rectangle R2 with the width 10 and height 20. And a third rectangle R3. And since we do not pass any inputs to this rectangle, these width and height will be 0. And therefore it prints 30, 200, and 0 when we print the areas of these rectangles. So, and the goal of doing this, so moving the class to separate files, is so we can easily use this class in another projects. So now we only have to copy these files to another project, and then we can use this class also in another projects. So that's it for this video. In this video we have seen how to separate a class to different source files.